You aren't God, and you need to stop trying to be. People have the most problem with, of the top 9 that I do for you, humble yourself. What does that mean, Kirsten? Well, it means you need to stop controlling, manipulating, pulling the strings to get the outcome that you want. You need to even stop thinking that you have any input into what's going to happen next. And I know that's hard because, listen, I have a planner that is chock full. I like to schedule weeks and months out in advance, and I'm not saying that's wrong. There's something about being organized. I get that. But this is about trying to say that you have the better idea as to what is supposed to happen, what the outcome is supposed to be. This is about you controlling. This is about you leading. In fact, visualize it like this. You need to be standing behind the Lord. The Lord needs to lead. It goes right along to always pray first. Pray first for everything. If you're running late for something, pray first. Don't think, oh, I can make this turn instead. I can go that way instead. I can probably cut time off doing here. No. Pray first. Give it to God first. Why are you trying to lead? You trying to control? You're trying to be in charge of if the light's going to turn green or not. You need to stand behind the Lord and let him lead, because that's how he can protect you. If you're in front of him, he cannot protect you. And I know bad things happen. And I know we try to control our way out of bad things happening. And I get that. But what you need to understand is even if the bad things happen, and they will, you need to trust that he's going to be there and he's going to hold your hand and that he can help you with your feelings and he can help you with your sadness. That's what it's like, giving it all to him and humbling yourself and just stopping trying to be God. Let me give you an example of this in my life. Before we left to go be missionaries for 3 months, I was freaking out. How is this going to work? How are we going to have enough money? I was specifically freaking out about telling my employer, what if they say no? What if they don't let me go? What if they fire me? And I was like, okay, well, I could do this, and I can say this, and I can move this. And I was just tripping and freaking out about all of these logistical things. When really, it wasn't about me. Part of how God was going to work through me was in that conversation I was going to have with my boss. He was going to work in that. And he was going to work in if they said no. And he was going to work in if I lost my job. The way that I thought it was going to work, the way I thought it should look like, we'll go here, we'll help starving babies, it'll look wonderful. Like that was all me. That was all ego. God had a bigger agenda, his plan. And as soon as I was able to step back and be like, you know what? If I go tell my employer and say no, then that's God's plan because he's going to use that. If we show up there and we lose everything or it's a disaster or somebody gets hurt, I know so many of you were like, oh, it's dangerous here. You can't go to Mexico, all of that stuff. He was going to use that. It wasn't my agenda. It was his agenda. As soon as we put in our own agendas, that's ego. God's not using our ego. He's using us. Vulnerable, scared, imperfect us. So you have to humble yourselves. It's interesting. As soon as we got there, when we were in Mexico, I thought it was going to look one way. And how it really looked was God was using more of the one-on-one. It wasn't ministry and helping thousands. It was being able to serve one of his children at a time. We did a lot of serving one. It was about how God worked in me, in my husband, and in my children. He could have very well brought us there, not to be missionaries to serve others, but because he wanted more close connection with the 5 of us. That was his whole purpose. So do you see how all of the plans that I had, all of the organizing and planning and strategizing, that was me stepping in front of the Lord and thinking that I'm going to lead the way. Whereas I needed to let him take the lead. So whatever happened, whatever path, even if it didn't happen, that's how he was going to use me. You need to stop trying to be God and humble yourselves before the Lord and let him take the lead. That whole Jesus take the wheel, it's so true. We try to take back control of it so much more. And that is us not humbling ourselves, but trying to play God. And I know it's scary because you have an idea of what you think it's going to look like. Well, I need this job, or I need this spouse, and I need this to happen, and I need this cancer diagnosis to go away. Sit back. Pray and let the Lord lead. He's going to take you where you need to go. Here is a verse for you, and here's the prompt that I would like you to do. The verse is James 4:10. It's a great one. Humble yourself before the Lord, and he will lift you up. Look it up in multiple versions, write about it, listen to it. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. Now write this. How are you trying to control the situation? How are you trying to control a situation? A marriage, a relationship with your with a child, in a job situation, in a diagnosis. How are you trying to control the situation? Where are you leading and making it about you instead of him? Where are you leading and trying to make it about you instead of him? God, I want this to be the outcome. Lord, I want it to look like this. Lord, I don't want to have to go through this pain. Lord, I want that person to do this. Lord, I want this. No. Lord, what do you want? How are you going to use this pain? How are you going to use this situation? And ask him to take back over the lead. Say, Lord, please, you go back in front. You lead me. You protect me, because I know if I am leading, you can't protect me. And that's what I really need. Lord, take back over the lead. This is a big one. Humble yourself is a big one. And I hope you have a little more perspective on what it means to really humble yourself before the Lord.